So Fantasy Island is the latest piece of shit horror movie to come out of 2020. In relation to other horror movies, we'll look at The Turning. I think it is better than The Turning just because at least this movie knows what it wants to do. It knows what it is. But The Turning tried to be some kind of big, massive movie and really failed in my opinion. But then another crap horror movie other people would think is absolutely terrible, which is The Grudge, which I agree is absolutely terrible. But I actually think The Grudge is better than Fantasy Island just for the very fact of the actors looked like they were giving it their all and actually they wanted to be there in The Grudge. But if you look at Fantasy Island, it looks like none of the actors wanted to be there. It also looked like none of the actors knew what emotion was, which is kind of weird because if you look at Michael Pena, who is actually terrible in this movie, for an actor who I actually really enjoy, I've seen him in the Ant-Man movies as well. He was in Dora the Explorer last year and I think he was good in all those movies, and he is an actor. Whenever I see him, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Michael Pena, I'd like to see that movie. And the fact that he just is so bad in this movie and he gives no emotion whatsoever, talking about his wife, talking about everything he does talk about, and he just kind of, it feels like he's just reading lines from a page, no emotion whatsoever. And then you get other characters like Michael Rooker, who again is an actor who I really do enjoy. You got Yondu here. That was actually not planned, but Michael Rooker as well is an actor. I think he is the best part about this movie, and even at that, he's not that good in it. He kind of just feels like he's just there for the paycheck. He felt like, okay, this would be an easy performance for me to do, and it just feels like he didn't really bring anything major to the movie. But even at that, even though he didn't bring anything major to it, he still was the best part for me personally. And looking at the rest of the cast, not including Michael Pena and Michael Rooker, but you got these two lads who are kind of douches, and their whole fantasy is to have it all. So having that, it's just a major party that is meant to go on for a couple of days. Their whole storyline I thought was pretty stupid and really not interesting. Most of these storylines I thought were pretty stupid and not really interesting at all. And the way it plays out, the movie plays out thinking that it's such a smart movie, thinking that like, oh, you didn't see this coming, or can you believe we just pulled this? And all of it seems like really lazy, and it's just none of it was captivating. None of it kept my attention. There were so many points in this movie where I didn't really want to watch this movie. Like if I was watching it at home on Netflix, I probably would have switched it off because this movie is close to 2 hours long, and it really does not need to be 2 hours long. Like there's scenes where you feel like, okay, this is going on a little bit too long, or do we really need this scene in the movie? And then in the middle of the movie, there has this big reveal within the movie that is meant to be kind of blowing your mind. But as it was playing out, I was like, okay, oh, look at that. Wow, I can't believe that happened. Oh, yay, look at that. But I really didn't care, and I can't imagine anyone would really care about this massive reveal within the movie. And for weirdly enough, every now and again, this kind of, I don't know how you would describe them. It seems like people who are native to the island would just appear, and then you turn around, they disappeared, and it's just that was never explained whatsoever. So just every now and again, they kind of just threw something small in there, and nothing was ever explained. So it was something like, what the hell was that? And it's like it never touches on like, okay, these were the people who originally there, they're not liking what is happening. None of that is touched on, so I don't really understand what the hell was happening there. It seems like they were building something, and then when the whole movie was finished, they were looking at it like, okay, we need to cut this down a bit, or oh yeah, that doesn't really work, but we'll just keep all the setting up of it in there, but we're gonna not show the conclusion. So that part as well didn't really work for me as well. People, the way deaths happened in this movie, it's not disturbing, but it's just like you're looking at it going, what was the point in that? They kind of make it as gory as they can do without making it too gory, and it just, none of it really worked for me. But in fairness, none of this movie worked for me at all. None of the horror, those comedy elements, I think I laughed maybe once throughout this movie, which when I think they were kind of aiming for a horror comedy, and since I laughed once, not really a good sign. So Fantasy Island, I would really not recommend you see this movie. Not only is it a really boring horror movie where there was no points in the movie that actually kind of scared me, also wasn't funny. Actors were really wooden, no interest in their performance whatsoever, or even what's going to happen to the characters. I didn't really give a shit about any single one of the characters. I just figured you could all die and I wouldn't really give a shit. You could all survive and I really wouldn't give a shit. And in a horror movie, you kind of want to see your heroes live or die. You don't really know, but you don't really, if you come to a horror movie and you don't really care what happens to our characters, that's not really a good sign. So my kind of recommendation for Fantasy Island is don't see it unless you're bored one night on Netflix, which is the thing. seen Truth or Dare is coming to Netflix soon, which is actually directed by the same guy as Fantasy Island. So that's what I'm gonna do. Once that comes to Netflix, I will watch Truth or Dare, and that's what I imagine a lot of people should and will do for Fantasy Island. Just wait for it to come to Netflix, because it will eventually come to Netflix. But if you have seen Fantasy Island, let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments down below. Click that subscribe button so you can come back next time we do a movie review. And as always, thanks for watching.